see when you look at me. You know I can teach you everything. Are you hearing me? It's so hard to reach. It's so hard to reach.
All right, so now, take the other side of that paper, flip it over. All right, and we are going to identify 4 more things to help you find your gifts so that you can live life in purpose, on purpose. So, next thing is, as a child, now we're gonna go back to before we were programmed, before we were conditioned, when life was just all I had to get up and do is eat, play, cry a little bit, and just live life. Life was so much simpler. Back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore, but some days I said, I wish I was a kid again. All right, so going back to that person, what did you love to do when you were a child? What did you love to spend your time doing as a child? So, in that first box, 7 things. Remember, write down those 7 things. If you can remember that far back. If you old like me, you may can only remember 3 or 4. But push yourself. Dig deep. All right. So for me, it was drawing. So it was drawing. It was art. It was gardening. My grandmother always had me in her garden or pulling weeds or doing something, in the yard. So we stayed outside when I was young. And then something else that I was always doing and I loved doing, that my grandmother had me doing, is she had me serving at the church. Like, I was always helping. She was the head of the decorations committee at church. She was the head of the pastor's aid committee at church. So I was always in the back helping the ladies. So that's something that I always did as a child. Helping others. So if you see in my boxes, there is a common thread. My gifts all align with each other. The things I love to do and the things that I would do if money wasn't an issue, the things I feel like I was born to do, the things that I did as a child, all of those things kind of align. They're all a lot of the same things. So if you have some common threads, some common denominators, but those aren't the things that you're doing in your adult life, that may be a clue that not only are you out of purpose, but you can identify, these are my gifts that I should be doing. So now let me just figure out how to monetize it. All right. So, but if you still haven't figured it out, let's keep going. All right. In the second box, as an adult, you right now, the adult, young adult, whoever you are, all right? What are you passionate about? What is something that I am passionate about doing? All right, so for me, it's common denominator. Music, art, helping others. Forgive me for the handwriting. Helping others. All right. So common denominator is all in flow. So how I use, we'll talk about it later. So the art, we'll talk about it later. All right. Third thing, and this is where we get a little transparent. Third thing is, what is important to you about life? What is important to you about life? So when I had my awakening, right, I was working at Frito-Lay making chips. And I just understood that wasn't my purpose. My purpose was greater than making chips or making somebody else millions of dollars, right? And what I found in that was, what was important to me was, one, being able to financially sustain myself, having financial freedom. And even though I was making great money at Frito-Lay, I didn't have time to spend the money or spend with people that I love or go hang out. So that was something where I looked at that as, a negative, because I was making money, but I didn't have time to enjoy it. I didn't have time to enjoy life, So that was something that was important to me, was autonomy. So when I quit Frito-Lay and took the journey of being an entrepreneur, that was something that was important to me, was I needed the autonomy of my time. I needed to dictate what I wanted to do. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna create a job for myself. I'm gonna create a business for myself where I can work anywhere in the world. All I need is a laptop. That was something that I said in my head, and I manifested it, where I can work anywhere in the world. All I need is a laptop, because that's how I could take back my autonomy and my time. So that's something that was important to me, time. Because once it's gone, you can't get it back, all right? So time is important to me. Another thing for me that was very, very important to me was family. So at the time, just transparent share out, let me take my mask off, let my wall down. When I moved to Houston to work in Frito-Lay, I stayed out there for about 3 years. And my grandmother, who I just mentioned, who adopted me, I'm not her grandson by blood, but she adopted me, she took me in. And before I moved, a year or so before I moved out there, my grandmother, I stay in the hood. I'm from a hood, and if you're from Dallas, Oak Cliff, Highland Hills is where I stayed. And somebody, a neighbor of ours, was high on embalming fluid. And my grandmother was outside in her yard watering her grass. That's something that she loved to do. She was a retired educator. She was an educator. She taught for 35 years at Samuel High School. So her pastime, the thing that she loved to do, was gardening, fixing her house, fixing her yard. And this guy walked across the street and beat her almost half to death. Caused brain damage in her head. And I recently lost my grandmother from dementia. And that was a cause of it, because he was hitting her, which caused brain damage, which caused dementia, that's how my grandmother's life ended. And I'm thankful for it, because I got to spend my grandmother's last days, I got to spend those with her. Had I not been living in my purpose, I would have been in Houston working at Frito-Lay. So this is why it's so important to live life intentionally and live life on purpose, so that the things that matter to you, you're able to do those things. So time for me is important. And the second thing is family. Family is what's important to me in life. Let me just put a heart, because I love my family. All right. So third thing, this for the sake of time, I'm doing 3 things, but I challenge you to dig deep and write down 7 things. All right. So lastly, I would say what is important to me about life is definitely relationships, bonds that I make with people. I've created a family outside of my blood, but we're family in bonds. The things that we share, the things that we have in common, those are the things that keep me inspired and keep me motivated. So I'll put bonds for the third thing. So now let's say that you're somebody who, you don't have those ties. You don't have those deep-rooted bonds. You got your old friends from high school who you've outgrew, or, all your friends or your family or your coworkers. You only hang out with people that you work with, and you need a community. You need a tribe of people who can inspire you, can pour into you, can motivate you, If you don't have that tribe, I caution you to join our heart-centered tribe, Jice Loves, a tribe of people who not only are heart-centered, who lead with love, but we motivate, we inspire, we hold each other accountable, and we just, a vibe. All right, so if you need a tribe, if you're looking for that, I encourage you to research us, find out about us, jiceloves.org, GICE loves.org, and check us out and join the tribe. All right, I dare you. All right, so last thing, fourth box. And another reason why it's so important to have that tribe of people that just actually love you. Because the last thing, I want you to think of 5 people. 5 people in your life that you're inspired by, you're motivated, they're positive people, they're positive influences in your life. Think of those 5 people and think of some talents and gifts that those 5 people have. You can just think of one talent and gift. Oh, I know, JoJo, he's real confident. Just an alpha, just a man. Nikki, she's hard, she's direct, she's straightforward, but she's loving and honest. Let's see, Tracy is a talented artist. When I see her paint, when I see her draw, she's just amazing. I love her technique. Just think of any talents, any attributes, any abilities that these people have, right? All right, so those 5 people, you should hopefully be able to go to them, be able to call them. If your friends don't call you, if you call your friends and they don't answer, or they don't call you back, that ain't your tribe. That's not your community. So if you can't call them and they answer to you, or not answer to you, they answer when you call, or they make themselves available to you, those are the people that you want to reach out to. Anybody else, you may want to rethink that relationship. All right, so 5 people, think about what their gifts are and ask them, hey, person, what do you think my gifts are? What do you think my gifts are? Ask those 5 people and then write down what it is that they said. So now I've given you a playbook of how you can identify your gifts. All right, so next Transparent Tuesday, or I'll tell you, I'll probably, this is something that if you want to work with me, if you feel like I resonate with you, I resonate with your core values and who you are, and you need help taking your gifts and turning them into a stream of revenue, that's something that we highly practice and preach ourselves. I call myself a changepreneur, meaning I don't just make dollars, I make change. Make sense? All right, so I live in purpose, on purpose. So I take my gifts and I monetize those gifts and make those a stream of revenue. So with my art, I do marketing, branding, content creation. With helping people, I'm a life coach. I help people for a living. So I take these gifts and I monetize them. A great man by the name of Les Brown said, figure out what it is that you love to do and figure out how to get paid doing it. Les Brown, he loved to talk. If you don't know who Les Brown is, Google him. He loved to talk, and he made a business for himself talking. Simple, right? All right, so last thing, if this still wasn't enough, you have 8 tools that you can use to identify your gifts, and you want a little help, you want to dive a little deeper, book me for a consultation. You can comment below, you can inbox me, and I'll work with you one-on-one. I have very competitive rates. You know, let's talk about it. Let's work it out. If you're in the Texas area, we take Texas Medicaid. If you have Medicaid, that's free out of pocket for you, and we'll just bill your Medicaid, and I'll work with you, helping you develop some of these gifts and goals and helping you monetize them and turning them into a stream of income so that you wake up fulfilled. You wake up every day loving what it is that you're doing, giving you every tool that you can so that you can identify what your gifts are and how to monetize them. All right, so that's it. That's all I got. You know, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, love yourself, show love, and, you know, inspire somebody else, pay it forward. That's it. That's all I got. Peace.
I wanna be see-through. Transparency when you look at me. You know I can teach you everything. Are you hearing me? It's so hard to reach you. It's so hard to reach you.